Stage is yours. Please go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarabhai. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Um, I know it's a very daunting task. Half of you who are here are already all over the place. So I've decided, like, I've tried to break it down into pieces ताकि आप लोग को बेहतर समझ में आए and it is easier for you to grasp on because uh, like one of the things that I encountered was since like I have had great mentors, but वो sciences और social sciences का जो एक barrier है वो थोड़ा थोड़ा कहीं there were some things that I was a bit lost on, so I can understand like what your concerns were. So maybe I hope by the end of it आपके concerns could be better clarified. Um, so one of the things, first things that I would recommend to everyone who is, even if you're looking for not PhD, but for master's applications as well, is you refine your research idea or maybe narrow down what you want to study or what you want to research. Uh, Sometimes like we have to when we start thinking about going into research हम लोग we start bombarding ourselves with a lot of ideas मतलब we think कि ये भी include कर लेना चाहिए ये भी include कर लेना चाहिए and उससे like it just complicates things a lot. You don't have to research everything at once that for example if you probably want to research for women's rights in India for perhaps uh, usme there are a lot of components. It could be from a socio-economic perspective, it could be from a law perspective, it could also be from a more ethnographic perspective. Could be North India versus South India, could be East India, could be West India, could be rural India, urban India. So so there are a lot of components when you go for research in social sciences because like as I think we all know it based from one person to another person. It differs everywhere. So I would suggest that you define, write it down. Like when I am stuck and I want to see where I'm going wrong, I write it down on a piece of paper, and then you start writing components. For example, if it is women's rights, where do you want to research? Is it based in a city? Is it based in a state? Is it based in a village? What do you want to study? And like I don't know much about women's rights, but for that I believe when you're refining your research idea, you should talk to your mentors, talk to your professors. Could be a professor in your like in your university, or maybe up you've met them in a conference or anywhere. So approach them or maybe email them, have a meeting with them, and try to talk to them about what your research idea is. Because what happens is when I went to my professor saying that I want to research about education in India, and then she asked me about what education, like what do you want to research, and I was lost because I wanted to do everything. I wanted कि हमको पूरा education system I have to transform it at once, and that's not going to happen. It gets too complicated. So before you start your graduate applications, you should approach somebody who has been working in your field of interest in what do you want to research, and have a good, like maybe a couple of conversations with them, because it will help clarify those thoughts in your head. And when you narrow your research down, it creates more clarity in your mind, so you're not all over the places, and it makes you less overwhelmed, I believe. And it has helped me a lot, so I would suggest you try to do it. Another thing when you're like refining your research idea is don't make it too broad and don't make it too narrow. Like for example, if we take the women's right, don't make it that I have to do it in Delhi in this area, because then maybe you will have problems finding people who are research, like who are interested in supervising your research. So keep it bit broad, keep two or three components, but it shouldn't contain like everything. Okay, so just like try to find a good match between, like not too much and not too narrow. And I think your supervisors or your mentors or anybody who is more experienced in the field that you have a chat with, they will help you out. Like talk to two or three people who are maybe pursuing their PhD, and they will. I did the same. I talked to like five or six people who were doing their PhDs, and that helped me sort things in my head. And the last thing that you can do is maybe like start reading more research papers. I would suggest when you move from your master's to graduation, like graduate, especially in like if you want to do it outside of India, you will need to be thorough with what the research in your current field is talking about. You know, you look at journals, you look at research papers, you look at dissertations of people who are, you know, researching in your field. So that will help you out a lot if you are not coming from a research background. Personally, I was somebody who was not. I was like a commerce student, and then I did an MBA. So I did not know any of this. Like, I did not know the R of research. So I was all over the place. And this did help me out a lot, talking to people and referring to the research, the kind of research that I want to do. So I would suggest this is where you start your graduate applications. Uh, One second, why is it not moving? Yeah. The next step would be shortlisting universities. Now, I feel like the biggest I think not wrong, but I think where we lack is when we are shortlisting universities, we usually go to these international rankings. I'm not saying they do not matter, but a lot of these international rankings are based on research and development in more scientific departments. Like, you know, they will have excellent medicine and scientific departments, but their social science departments may not be that well. Like, they will be better, but they will not be, you know, up to your standards maybe. So I wouldn't say that, you know, the first thing a lot of people do is they go to maybe QS rankings and they're like, oh, these are the top 10 universities in QS rankings, and maybe I should go and, you know, apply over there. But they've not gone to the where the department pages that they want to apply in, or they've not seen the professors, the kind of research, social science research that is happening in that university. And that does create problems afterwards, because maybe there is a clash between the supervisors and the kind of research that you want to pursue. So do look at the rankings, but do not base your university shortlisting on how high the QS ranking is. I have seen people get offers from good universities, but then they are undermined it because they think, oh, this is not amongst the top 100 QS ranking universities. But, you know, it does not matter as long as you have a supervisor who is uh, you know, very keen in your research and who is much helpful, and you're getting a funding. So do not base your university shortlisting on that. uh, Next, like another thing that I found was the PhDs are very different in, like, from US to Europe to Australia. In US, it is typically 5 to 7 years. In Europe, it is 3 to 4. Max, they will extend is 5 years. And in Australia, it ranges from somewhere to 3 to 7 years. So you have to assess where you stand in your research journey. Some people, like myself, I was not keen on doing PhDs in Europe because I thought I was not prepared to write, you know, dive into research just after my master's. Like, I need a segue into it. For US, you have 5 years in which 2 years is a coursework, which is almost like a master's, and they will help you hone your researching skills. In Europe, you directly dive into your research, whatever you are conducting. And in Australia, it differs from like universities to universities. So you have to assess where you stand, whether you are definite that and you're prepared with researching in your maybe, like, if it is women's rights, you know what you want to do, and you know you can directly dive into the research. Then I think Europe is a very good uh, example for you, because they don't have a coursework. But if you think that you need to learn some research skills before you start conducting it, then I think US is a better choice. And then Australia has like a range of universities, so you can choose where you fit. But that doesn't mean that you restrict yourself that I am not going to look at US. I know I'm prepared, so I just should go for Europe. Keep your options open. Your primary source would be how well connected you are with the supervisor or with your potential PhD supervisor. That is the biggest relationship that will carry you on for the entirety of your research journey. But just in your mind, you should be prepared, like where you fit better, right? Next is like you should know the difference between R1, R2, and R3 universities. So R1 universities are those which have like better fundings because they are more research focused and they provide a lot of like funding opportunities. So when you're shortlisting universities where you want to look for professors in, you can, one second, I have, where is it? I have created a file. Yeah. So over here you can see these are like, this is, I just went on to Google and I found it. So these are universities in USA. You can find them in even in Europe and other places as well. But these are the universities that focus a lot on research and they give a lot of fundings. So maybe if you are looking and you don't know where to start, you can start looking university wise. It is a very tedious process, takes a lot of time, but there's no other option. Like there is no shortcut to all of this. You have to do all of this rigorous work for this. um I will come back to my slide. Oh my god, yeah, I'm so lost. Yeah, so you can base it university wise. You look for the universities who are probably uh, investing more in researches, and then you look for professors in those university. Another way that you can do it is by going to Google Scholar. You write the prompts, so it could be like women's rights India urban, and then you will get a lot of research papers, you will get journals, and then you can find professors who are working into those research areas, and then you can approach them directly. You can also look for books. Like a lot of people I have known, they contact uh, these writers who are in universities, and sometimes they do reply, and I know some people that are working with them. So do not hesitate. If you read a book which is very well researched and you think, and it falls into your research idea, do contact if that person is a professor somewhere, if that author is a professor. So these are some of the ways that you can shortlist your universities where you stand better and where you think you should think of applying, जहाँ आपको लग रहा है कि आपके लिए बेहतर है अप्लाई करना. um, Next is finding your academic department. Now this is another place जहाँ पे a lot of people are lost because social science department में बहुत सारे department होते हैं. तो अगर आपका idea is women's rights, then it also falls into South Asian department. It can fall into political science department. It can fall into anthropology department. So this is where your chat with your supervisor, your professors, or maybe your mentors will help you out, that you would know what kind of research and what kind of departments your research idea would fall. तो आप उस हिसाब से department wise you can hunt for professors, or maybe you can look into 2 or 3 departments. I did it. Like I knew my research idea was falling into South Asian department, but it was also into education department, so I would apply in 2 different departments. You can talk to current PhD scholars. Maybe for example, you find a department which is a women's rights department in South Asia and you think it is well suited. You can contact the current PhD scholars over there. You will be visiting the university websites a lot, so I believe it is a tedious process. I'm not going to lie. So you would have to contact a lot of people. So just contact the current PhD scholars who are pursuing their thesis in that university, and they can help you out. A lot of them are really nice. They're very prompt to help people who are trying to apply. So just it is okay if it falls under multiple departments. Just contact as many people as you want so that you find the department that suits you best. And also look for the research papers that department is publishing, so you get an idea if it matches your research idea or not, right? I don't know if I'm making sense. Please just ask. Like, this is the first time I'm doing this, so if I'm not making sense, please ask, or like just question, put your questions in the chat box. Um, the next is how to find a supervisor. I think we've talked a bit about this. You know, you can go to Google Scholar and look for similar researches. There are journals, books. You can also go to the official university pages, which is a very tedious process. So you, for example, go to Harvard's professional, like official page, and then you find your department and you go professor wise and you see if anyone falls into your research department. Uh, it is a tedious process, but you do like end up finding. I found most of my professors that way. I went from professors to professor. Whoever I thought was somehow related to my research idea, I would mail them. Another place is LinkedIn. I would, if you do not have LinkedIn, I would suggest you make an account. If you do have LinkedIn, I suggest you start connecting more into your research field. So if your research field is women's right, I say go from like from NGOs to academics to university pages. You will find a lot of these pages and they have good amount of information about sometimes supervisors themselves, they will list that they're researching in this field and they want PhD students for their research. And you do end up finding your exact research idea sometimes and a good professor. So do make a LinkedIn account and just add as many, like make as many connections as you can in your research field. um, Next is the biggest question I think everybody has is funding. um, you can there are a couple of ways you can go about it. It is I think there is a very big myth that people have in their heads uh, कि यूनिवर्सिटीज सिर्फ साइंस को फंडिंग देती है, सोशल साइंसेस को फंडिंग नहीं मिलती है. इट्स अ वेरी बिग मिथ. A lot of universities invest good amount of money and good amount of scholarships into students who are, you know, who want to pursue their research and their PhDs in social sciences. So please get that myth out of your head कि अरे हम social science के हैं, हमको कहीं से भी funding नहीं मिलेगी and all of that. It is a very big demotivator. I have heard people who say कि नहीं 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 होती है, but there are good amount of fundings. If you have a good university, good supervisor, I would suggest that you talk to your supervisors. It is you will contact a lot of professors, not every one of them would reply, but those who reply, they're very prompt. And if they like what you are working on and what you want to work on, they will be very prompt in their responses as well. और वो खुद से आके आपको help करेंगे. I've talked to professors who, after one meeting, they sent me a grant application, you know, for me to fill, uh, ताकि हमको research के लिए grant मिल जाए. I was not ready for it at the time, but that is how they are. So don't think कि ओ हमारा research idea तो बहुत common सा है. Who will fund that? Get this out of your head. Okay. Um, you can also go for you know, you can talk to this your potential supervisor. They will help you out. They will tell you if there is a university funding, there's an internal funding, अगर कोई external funding है जिसमें आप apply कर सकते हैं, if there are any grants, scholarships, etc. They will help you out a lot. I also have I will show you towards the end of this slide some of the examples that I wanted to give. Another place you can find for scholarships is the university page. Please be like, every university page at a first glance is very complex क्योंकि हर university का page अलग होता है. But put some time into it. आपको बहुत सारी information जो है आपको उस page से मिल जाएगी. You go to the scholarship section and you will find so many scholarships. Like in good R1 universities, they have, at least every university has 10 to 15 internal scholarships for good students who want to research in social sciences. And there are some who are also focused on students from uh, tier 2 or lesser developed nations. So just be very thorough with the university that you think of applying to, and thorough with their official university page. Another place that you could go to is YouTube. There is a lot of information on YouTube, from finding professors, from finding scholarships and colleges. You will find a lot of scholarships, like ideas of a lot of scholarships from these YouTube pages. I will just show you like an example of it. Uh, 1 second. How do I move this? Yeah. So this is just, oh my God, this is an example of it. Like, just do not refer to all of them, I will say, because you will be very overwhelmed. I believe just, agar aap free hai, for example, you're traveling somewhere and you're free, and usually the time that you're scrolling on your phones is the time that you can do all of this, कि आप देख सकते हैं कि यूरोप में what are the fully funded scholarships, and there are a lot of creators, and you will find a lot of them give ideas for a good scholarships, जो हो सकता है आपको normally पता ना हो कि आपके the place that you want to apply in, वहाँ पे ऐसी scholarship है कि नहीं. आप college wise कर सकते हो, ऐसे space wise कर सकते हो, even according to your research idea कि women's rights में what are the scholarships that are there in Europe. You will find it all. Another place that you could go to is like, this is for Germany, but there are a lot of different websites जहाँ पे आपको scholarships के बारे में information मिलती है कि it could be according to university as well, it could be according to your research idea, and you will find a lot of scholarship ideas. um, this is, yeah, like this is the place that I had applied in, and these were all the internal funding opportunities that they had, and there are deadlines for it. So uh, you will find a lot of them fall into your they apply to you, तो आप इनके लिए apply कर सकते हैं. Another place that you could look for scholarships is LinkedIn. I'm warning you, it is very overwhelming. I get it. Maybe write it down somewhere, but these are the places that can help you out. So there are a lot of creators on LinkedIn as well. They will, you will find like this person, Sanya Jain, and you will find a lot of them talk about scholarships on a daily basis. They keep writing post after post, and they will tell you about the deadlines, what are the requirements. So be very prompt with LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn and YouTube are one of the best places to find information in about if you're funding, like if you're researching in social sciences. I got a lot of help from both of these platforms. So they have like this person has listed it country wise, you also have it region wise, you have it like your course wise. So just like make your LinkedIn account and start being very savvy with it. And these are the things that you do when you are, आप ज़्यादा busy नहीं है, you are not working, so maybe during breaks and when you're traveling and all of these places. um, you can also find yeah, just check official university page, and you will also, a lot of university do offer application fee waiver. That also you will find on the university page. So make sure you visit like thoroughly, होता है ना, छान देना है आपको, वैसे करना है हर यूनिवर्सिटी पेज को, that you find any way that you can save money. हो सकता है it is just an extra application. आप फ्री में अगर अप्लाई कर रहे हो तो you can, everybody has a budget, उसके अलावा आप नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते, इट्स एक्सपेंसिव, आई अंडरस्टैंड इट. तो जस्ट ट्राई टू लुक फॉर यूनिवर्सिटीज जहाँ वो मतलब फ्री एप्लीकेशंस आपको दे रहे हैं, आपको या तो वेवर दे रहे हैं, और मे बी यू कैन जस्ट कॉन्टैक्ट देम, राइट टू द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफिशियल यूनिवर्सिटी. वो अच्छा, हाँ, आई हैड दिस, 1 second. I had to show you like this. So application fee and fee waivers, this is for Columbia, but आपको हर university का मिल जाएगा, and they will usually have these listing if you fall under it. if your annual household income is below 66,000 USD and all of this, you can mail them and they will help you out. I'm telling you again, do not shy contacting the universities or your professors. Be very, uh, you know, I won't say nag them, but होता है ना, हम लोग कभी कभी hesitate करते हैं. Don't do that. You have any question, you contact them. You contact the university department, they reply in 2 or 3 days, or you contact your, if you're in contact with the professor, आप directly उनसे भी बात कर सकते हैं. Yeah. Next is how to manage it because it is very overwhelming. First, I would prefer that you make an Excel sheet. I will also show you the my Excel sheet and the folder that I had made to sort my thoughts when I was applying. And second thing, I would suggest that whatever university you have shortlisted, अगर आपने 10 universities भी shortlist करी हैं, create an account over there. It doesn't require money. You आपको बस account application account बनाना है. You don't need to fill it also. अगर आपको बाद में आपका you change your mind that you don't want to apply, it's all right. It's not a big deal. क्योंकि I have seen, I applied to 7 universities. Sabka application was starkly different than the previous, and I did not know about it. Like, I made my application accounts, I think 10 days before applying, and my SOP was ready and other things were in place, but every application was different. Some of them had, instead of an SOP, they had 10 questions. Some of them had an academic statement, which was different than a research statement, which was different than an SOP. So I was very, like, I think I had breakdowns at that point because I was like, how will I do it? I don't have time for this. And my deadline was like 10 days. Yeah, 10 days away. And so that is the biggest like thing. You please make an account and look at the application of what they are asking. Do not just refer to, oh, they're asking for 2 LORs, they're only asking for transcripts. Their questions could vary a lot. And in social sciences, I've seen they have a lot of abstract questions. Like one of the questions that I had in a university I had applied, they asked, what do I identify? Like, in which category will I identify myself, and how will that add to the university's atmosphere? And I read it. It was like 5 days before applying, and I was like, what do I write in this? Because I have written so much in my SOP already. How will I answer this? So please take a look at what are the questions in the application so that you have time to work on it. And I would suggest you, once you have a look, you will know what they're asking, whether they're asking for a straight up SOP, whether they're asking for a research proposal or an academic statement. Start working on it from now on. You may not apply to that university later, but it is always better to have things in place. So, last moment पे आप घबरा नहीं रहे. You have time to work. ऐसा नहीं हो कि you are at 3 different spaces and you don't know what to work in. Uh, Somebody has asked a question. Uh, yeah. Another, I think the next thing. Yeah, these are just some extra tips I have. Um, I have seen with my personal experience and others that I've interacted is we are very hesitant. Like, don't, if a professor asks you, for example, in a PhD interview, my professor asked me, what are your requirements from a supervisor? And in that moment, I realized I never really thought about it. Like, I was so busy in, like, collecting my stuff and proving myself worthy of that admission that I did not think about the requirements that maybe I would need in a supervisor. Khair, somehow, like, Alhamdulillah, I was able to answer it. But be honest, like, for example, if you want a supervisor which is hands on, आप ऐसे किसी को चाहते हैं जो, आपको, मतलब आपको ज्यादा इन्वॉल्वमेंट चाहिए, so be upfront with them about it because this is something आप, you will be doing it for 5 to 7 years of your life. So be very thorough with your requirements that I need somebody who helps me in every step of the research. Yeah, whatever your requirement is, be very honest about it. And I have seen professors are really, like, they will help you out a lot, and they would be very honest with you. If they cannot provide your requirements, they would refer you to somebody else. Like I've had there are so many professors I've had video chats with, and they gave me like an hour and a half of their time, and they would tell me, we understand you want to research in this, but I don't think I am the best professor for it, but let me recommend you to someone else. So they would write the recommendation and they would CC the professor and everything. So you will find professors doing that. So please be honest about what you want. Don't just settle. Like if you want to research for example, uh, maybe women's right for elderly women, but you have somebody who is doing for maybe teenage women, and you are like, हाँ ठीक है, मतलब जो मिल रहा है वो ले लेते हैं. No, chase your curiosity. You will find somebody, and tell the professor that you're talking to that you are maybe wanting somebody जिसको teenage women पे करना है, but I want to do it in elderly, and they will recommend you. They see the drive in you and they'll help you out. Second is be a good negotiator. Like जिस होता है ना, कुछ चीजें आप हो सकता है आप उसमें एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं, पर कुछ चीजें हैं मे बी यू हैव टू पुट योर फुट डाउन ऑन समथिंग समटाइम्स. लाइक डोंट बी कि अच्छा ठीक है जो मिल रहा है ले लेते हैं, व्हेन यू नो आपको बाद में जाके दिक्कत हो सकती है. फॉर एग्जांपल, one of the universities that was giving me an offer, they were giving me a 3 years of funding, but and they were like कि नहीं हम आपको 2 साल का भी दिला देंगे, हमारे यहाँ हो जाता है ये सब. And I told them very honestly, like the atmosphere that is over there, आई अगर आप गारंटी कर सकते हैं आई विल बी देयर विद यू, बट इफ यू कैन नॉट गारंटी मी कि 3 साल के बाद आप हमको फंडिंग दिला सकते हैं, देन आई कैन नॉट टेक दैट रिस्क that after 3 years I have nothing in my hand and I've wasted 3 years of my life as well. And they were very very prompt with it, and they tried a lot. They said हमने बात करी है डिपार्टमेंट में, and they tried to figure it out. It didn't work, but it is always good because फिर आप अपने हिसाब से चीजें चूज कर सकते हो. Secondly, I would suggest आप यहाँ से जाने के बाद everybody should create a timeline, because it is the start of October. Most universities will have their deadlines in December. And I think आप decide कीजिए जाके अभी कि what should I do first? Should I start with the research idea, or should I start with finding universities and contacting professors to create a timeline कि इतने दिन से इतने दिन तक हमको ये करना है, then after that I would do this, so that you have a vision board, for example, in front of you. And last thing is, you don't have to be perfect. You do not have to know all sorts of forms of research कि हमको सब आना चाहिए. The whole point of like a PhD, and they're not looking for somebody who knows how to do it. उनको ये कोई perfect नहीं चाहिए कि अच्छा this person will come and they will work like a robot and they will be best at it. They need to see the drive in you, and also the motivation to learn more. So be honest about things you know and things you don't know. Like I told them I don't know how to use quantitative data applications. Like I don't know ABC of it, and they were very nice about it, and they told me we have extra credit courses जो आप ले सकते हैं to learn about it, to how to work with quantitative data. So just like don't think कि अरे हमको ये आता ही नहीं है and they're asking for it, so maybe I shouldn't apply. Always take your chances, be honest with them and your requirements. Before moving on to questions, I would just show you this. One second. Yeah, this is how you can work accordingly. This is how I managed my college applications. I made an Excel sheet. These were the professors that I had contacted. These were the universities. I had, one second. Their email ID, if there is a fee waiver in that university, if there is an English test waiver, and I think I accidentally deleted the deadline, but there was like another column for deadline as well. when the deadline is. And you look at what TOEFL score or IELTS, whatever you're preferring for, what they require, and you work accordingly. This helps you in, you're not all over the place. It keeps your things organized. Like, I like things organized. This helped me out a lot. Another thing, how do I, yeah, for example, these were the final applications of places, and these were the deadlines. And I had also written the application fee if I would get a waiver or not. So you can see how it helps you out, how what are the documents they require. So you can maybe create 2 or how many Excel sheets you want, you can do it. I have my research proposal, my SOP, and I would just keep working on them like whenever I got time, or I would ask for feedback. So yeah, like, I hope, like, I don't know if I was clear or not, but yeah, 1 second. You can ask questions now.
Thank you. That was actually a very nice session and informative one, and I guess a lot of the participants of this session, they have grabbed from it. So I will say that there's already some questions in the chat, and I think there is also a raised hand we can start with. Sayed Aksai has a question. We can just start. You can unmute yourself and say, and then we can go back to the chat for the questions. Okay, I will pause, stop recording here. Okay, good. Yeah, please go ahead, Sayed.
Sure.
Aksai.